Hi, and welcome to SEO for Small Business. This is a continuing series on search engine optimization for small business. I'm Andrew Van Connis of Pinstripe Social Media, and today we're going to talk about search engine friendly sites. We're going to do a little bit of compare and contrast here and try to figure out which site does Google like and also which site do you like. So first of all, we're going to take a look at the first site here. It's a very nice wedding coordinator site here and events. It has some very nice things on the bottom there. It's been on Say Yes to the Dress. There are some things that are on here. Requires Flash Player 8, disable block-ups. There's a beautiful couple there. So this is site number 1 for you to compare with against site number 2 here. Site number 2 has a little bit more content on the front there. It has a Facebook page. Once again, has some links there at the bottom to show you where they've, some of the things they've done. Navigation up the top with links as well. So which site do you think Google likes better? Well, let's take a look. I did Wedding Planner New Jersey here, and you'll notice that right there is site number 2. Site number 2 Google likes much better than site number 1. Now why? We're going to get into that in a few slides here, but there are other things about Google that we can control with search engine optimization. The reason that site number 2 is better than site number 1 is that they've done some SEO, or search engine optimization. Now, one thing that they haven't done is put themselves into Google Local, and that will help also. So the two areas as far as the search goes in Google that we can control with search engine optimization are in the red. The Google Local and the organic on the left side. On the right side, those are paid searches. That is not part of SEO in the manner that I'm speaking of right now. That's where you pay per click or what have you. So that's what Google looks at. And also what's interesting is that the site that is number 1 when you do Wedding Planner in New Jersey is not even a wedding planner site. It's a resource for a bride to go in and do their own planning. So to find a caterer and that sort of stuff. So they've just done some really good SEO there. Now, why does Google do this, and how does it do that? And what does Google doesn't see what we see with our eyes. Google sees in site number 1. Google sees code, and in this case, you can see I've gone underneath the website of site number 1, and I'm looking for keywords, and in this case, wedding. Okay. And you can see that it only has 5 on that entire front page. It only has 5 places where the word wedding is used, and it's mostly in metadata. Now, Google doesn't. Yes, it does look at metadata, but it doesn't put as big of price on metadata as it does on content. Google loves content and links, and you can see site number 1 only has weddings once in the content. Whereas if we look at site number 1 overall, I search for other terms on that single page: wedding 5 times, plan, planner, or planning 5 times, NJ twice, or New Jersey or Jersey 0 times. That's why it doesn't have a big number when it comes to Google. Whereas site number 2, when we look at it in the same manner, underneath the hood in the code, the metadata has that many. Overall, it has 27 matches. And when we look at the rest of the content page and links, you can see that wedding is used quite a bit. Okay, so that's why it's much higher in the search than site number 1. Site number 2 has 27 references to the term weddings. 27, I'm sorry. 22 to plan, 16 to NJ, and 7 to Jersey. That's why it is ranked higher than site number 1 or any other site, because they use those terms. It's in the content, it's in the links, it's in the metadata. Those are 3 main areas. So site number 2 is going to show up a lot more in the Google search than site number 1. Now, after this, which one do you like? This is Andrew Van Connis of Pinstripe Social Media. We do SEO, and we help you get your site to be number 1 in Google. And we also do web design and internet marketing for local small businesses in Santa Barbara and Ventura County. Thank you for your time, and have a wonderful day.